Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the training. For those of you that are not joining us live but will be watching this recording, we hope it is also very informative for you. And if you need any answers to questions or have any problems, this is for everybody. Please feel free to email me as this process is happening, even over the next few days, and even after the event happens this weekend. My email address is rrussell@jewishsgpv.org. I am Rebecca Russell. It's a pleasure for those of you guys that I've not seen before, and for those that I have seen before, to see you again. But it's lovely to meet you all. On behalf of the Jewish Federation, we are so thankful that you have volunteered to read names, that you are going through this process and doing this with us. And we know it's meaningful for us, and we hope it will be meaningful for you too. It's a really beautiful event, and the fact that you guys are a part of it makes it even more special. I'm very excited that we have several survivors with us this evening and that we'll be reading as well over the weekend. Ruth Geller and Ruth Slater. Can you guys wave really quickly? Would that be all right? Yeah. Oh, Yvonne Cheney, are you also a survivor? Oh no, you were just waving. You were just waving back to them. Not a problem. We're very honored to have you guys with us, and thankful that you are taking the time to continue telling everybody the story and how important this story is, and what's going on.
Excuse me,
Uh,
I'm waving to Ruth.
oh, not a problem. I like it when we wave to each other. It's nice. Um, so this evening is going to be led by Jake Tavel. He is our tech wizard and guru. He'll be handling the coordination, and he and his team will be handling the coordination during the event itself. He basically knows everything. So you can ask him all kinds of questions at the very end of this training. So basically, the way it's going to go is he will go over the basics with you and then take you through some of the settings you will need to put on your computer in order to make this work to the best of its ability. And then he'll have time for the questions at the end. And I can also answer questions at the end. I'll be here through the entire thing as well. So thank you again, all of you, for being here. And I'm going to hand it over to Jake.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So right now, while I give this presentation through everything, you'll be muted, so you won't be able to unmute and ask questions. But at the very end, we're going to go through all of your questions till you're all comfortable. So don't worry, we're going to make sure that everything is clear for anybody who's lost on any of those parts. That being said, we're going to have a very important ceremony, and it's going to be very moving. It's going to take place in Zoom webinar format, which is different than Zoom meeting format like we're on now. In Zoom webinar format, me and my team are controlling exactly what everybody on the other side sees. So we're live streaming, we're controlling who sees what, all of that. So when you join, you're going to join from a unique panelist link. So you'll have your own link to click to join the Zoom. And that link is just for you to join for when you are reading. So you'll join from that link, which will be provided to you. We'll go over that towards the end, and Rebecca can give some insight on how you'll receive those links. But that link will be sent to you, and it's attached to your reader number in the order that we go down the slots. Some of you are in a slot where there's multiple virtual readers, so it might say like 2A and 2B, and some might just say, 2, if there aren't any other virtual readers. There will, however, be other on-site readers, so you'll alternate going through the names so that we can keep going through and you get a little bit of a rest in between reading. Now, that being said, if you are doing multiple slots, you're only going to receive one link. So it'll just be that same one link for the first time that you are reading, and you'll use that the entirety of you reading. When you join and come on via that link, it should automatically rename you to your reader number. However, if this doesn't happen, we might rename you, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. It's very important that you join the Zoom from a computer if you can. Obviously, not everybody has the luxury of being able to hop on via a computer. However, we do ask that if you are able to join from a computer, not an iPad, not a phone, that you do This is because you'll be able to get the best quality from this. The connection will be the best. You'll be able to get the best sound from it and the best positioning. So if you can join from a computer, not an iPad, not a phone, we do ask that you do so to have the most seamless experience. So when you join and come on via your link on your computer, ideally, you'll come on and you will not be seen yet. What we want you to do is to join early. So we want you to come approximately 15 minutes before your slot so that you are ready to go when it's time to switch to you. When you join, it'll have you join with your camera off. Please do not try to turn it on. We'll be taking care of that and making sure only the people that are seen already. So when you join, you'll come on. We'll have you turn on your camera when it's time. We'll message you, get that all situated. And at that point, make sure that you turn on your camera. When you get on, you want to be able to communicate with us. Obviously, we're not going to talk on the Zoom while the reading of the names is happening. So you need to make sure to open the chat. You'll see the chat icon in the bottom toolbar on Zoom on your computer. If you're on an iPad or a smartphone, you'll swipe to access the chat. But please, on your computer, open the chat. First thing you do when you hop on, by clicking that chat icon at the bottom, you'll see a little pop-up of the chat comes up. This way, we can message each other. So if you're having any issues or if we need you to adjust anything, we can message you to, yeah, exactly, just like that, message you via the chat. We will be live streaming, so the people on Zoom won't necessarily, see your message. But what you need to do is, if you need to message myself or my team, you'll be able to message us privately by clicking the blue to field in the chat and selecting who you want to send a message to. We do ask that you send us a private message to the account that will say the JFGSPV. Yep, thank you. Tech. And it'll say, yeah, it'll say that, and then tech or something similar to that. And that's who you should be messaging if you are having any issues. And please keep an eye out mainly for messages from us. Only message us if you are having issues or have a question. That being said, in the bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom window, you will see the mute and unmute button. Very, very, very important that you be muted when it is not time for you to speak and unmuted when it is. So when your slot has come up and you're going to be speaking, you can unmute and stay unmuted while you're reading. But when you are not reading and while you are waiting for your slot and when you finish, please make sure that you are muted. Red line through that button, you're muted. No red line, you are unmuted. And a good, thing to do to just make sure that your mouth isn't moving without sound coming out at any point is always glance there before you start speaking. Just double check that there isn't a red line through it. If at any point you forget to unmute, we might ask you to. So just keep an eye on the chat as well as we might just unmute and ask you to unmute if we're having issues getting a hold of you. That being said, to the right of that button, you'll see the start and stop video icon. So this is where you'll be able to turn on and off your camera, and you can control that there. It works the same way as the mute button. Red line through it, camera off. No red line, camera on. We'll instruct you how and when to do so, but when you join, we'll have your camera off and then get your camera on before it's time to start. We'll do this a little bit before it's time for you to actually start reading your name so we can make sure that you're on deck and ready to go. That being said, we'll talk a little bit about positioning your lighting and your camera to look as good as you can. In the top right-hand corner of the Zoom, you'll see you have the view option. You can change your view between gallery view and speaker view. In webinar format, you'll have control over this for yourself as well. This isn't going to change it for anybody else. This is just your own personal view, how you are watching. So it's totally up to you how you set this. It's not going to change it for anybody else. For your own comfort, feel free to set that how you would like. So we've talked a little bit about those different settings on there, making sure you have the chat open. We'll talk about a few more in a moment, but something very important, which I'm going to stress now, is that we are live streaming this, of course. So if when you are reading and you are on the Zoom, it's very important that you are not in the same room that the live stream is playing in, and you don't have the live stream also currently playing on your computer. If you do that, you're going to get an echo and feedback, and it's going to come back through everything. So it's very important that if you are watching the live stream via your computer device, that you have turned that fully off. It is not on when you join the Zoom. And also, you can't even be in the same room with the live stream playing. It will cause a delay and a feedback loop to come through. So very important that, if there's other members in your household watching the live stream and they want to watch you reading the names, but not be in the room with you while you read the names, just make sure that they are in another room with the door shut, so you're not going to hear that coming back through as an echo. So with that taken care of, another very important thing is that we don't want any notifications to come through while you're reading these names to interrupt and also break the moving nature of doing this. So it's very important that you do a couple things. First things first, silence your phone, take it off of Wi-Fi. Do not turn it off. Don't put it on airplane mode. Just silence it. Take it off of Wi-Fi, and then place it in your lap, in your pocket, on your chair, on the floor, but not on your table or desk, not on your device, so that if it vibrates, it's not going to vibrate through everything and make a loud noise. So you can silence it, take it off of Wi-Fi, and put it down somewhere. It's not going to be disruptive. In addition, you're going to want to close any applications on your computer or device that you don't need open during the Zoom. So this should honestly be everything besides Zoom should be closed, unless you have the names up on a document on your computer as well. Then you can have, Word or PDF preview going with that, but everything else should be closed. Outlook, Slack, Microsoft Teams, Google Calendar, WhatsApp, all of that needs to be closed because those will all cause very annoying notifications to come through that will disrupt you speaking and the others speaking. In addition, any other applications that you have, even besides those, open your calculator application, Word doc if you're not using it, your calendar. Anything that you don't need needs to be closed because Zoom needs all of your computer processing power to work properly. And anything running in the background is going to be pulling from that. So it's very important all of those are closed. If you are on a Mac computer specifically, you will want to put it on Do Not Disturb. And I will tell you how to do this in a moment. But on a Mac, you'll want to put it on Do Not Disturb because you don't want FaceTime notifications coming through or iMessage notifications, somebody calling you, that disrupting you while you're speaking. So to put a Mac computer on Do Not Disturb, there are a few options. I believe, Rebecca, that we will provide a PDF with some of those. Yeah. So the PDF will show a couple of those options. That being said, if you have an up-to-date operating system on your computer and it's been updated, you'll see to the left of the date and time in the top right-hand corner of the computer screen, you'll want to, on your computer, not be in full screen on Zoom, so you can click the escape key on your keyboard and it'll take you out of full screen on Zoom. And you'll see the date and time on a Mac computer in the top right-hand corner. To the left of that, you'll see two little paperclip looking like switches or a crescent moon. If you see the crescent moon, you can click that and you can turn on Do Not Disturb. If you see the paperclip looking like switches, just two little switches in lines, one above the other, you'll click that and then click where it says focus and you can turn on Do Not Disturb. This will keep those notifications from coming through. We will provide a PDF that shows you a graphic of this so that you can see exactly what that looks like and where to find it. That being said, Do Not Disturb will automatically reset at midnight. So one, if you're speaking at midnight, maybe keep an eye on that. But two, if you forget about it, it's totally fine. It'll reset and you won't have to worry about it. So you don't have to worry about turning it off afterwards or anything like that. So we've talked about getting all set when you get on. We've talked about making sure that nothing disturbs you. The other thing is about making sure that we can hear you properly and clearly. So a couple first things of this is you need to make sure that you are not covering your microphone while you are speaking. On your computer, it could be in a varied degree of spaces, but uh, the general good rule of thumb, don't cover your computer in papers. Don't put papers on your computer. Don't put anything where the microphone might be. You also don't want to cover your camera. So if you have papers, make sure those papers are on your lap, on your table, on your desk, but they're not going to be shuffling around on top of your computer. You're not placing them on your computer, so that you're not going to be covering your microphone or your camera. You want to make sure to project. You don't have to yell, but you want to be, you want to be heard clearly. So make sure not to mumble or be, too far from your computer, or too far away, or speaking too quietly. You want these names to be heard like they should be. So it's important that you enunciate and make sure that you're speaking at a solid volume, like you would with somebody across a table in not a quiet place, but like a restaurant. So that being said, to the right of the mute button in the bottom left-hand corner on Zoom, this is just for people on computers. If you're on a smart device, you will not be able to do this. You don't have control over your audio settings. But on a computer, you'll see a little arrow to the right of the mute button in the bottom left-hand corner. So if you bring your cursor to the bottom left-hand corner of your Zoom, you'll see a little toolbar, you'll see that mute button, you'll see a little up arrow to the right of it. If you're having issues finding this right now, do not worry. I can show you after we finish going through this. But you'll see that little up arrow. When you click that, you'll get a black pop-up window. And it's really a dark gray, but I call it a black pop-up window. And at the bottom of the black pop-up window, you will see where it says audio settings. Now, when you click this, you'll get a white pop-up. Now, in the past, Zoom has not had great noise suppression for how it deals with noise, but for an event like this, generally we're going to keep that set to auto. So that will be the default generally. So you don't have to really mess with that unless I ask you to, or one of my team does, and we might message you otherwise. But as long as you are speaking up, make sure that there isn't anything where you are making loud noise, such as air conditioners, fans, heaters, anything like that. All of that needs to be off while you are reading your names, please. Make sure that windows are shut, curtains are pulled, doors are shut, so that no excessive noise is coming through. Then you should be solid with that. However, you really need to test this out and make sure that you are sounding good with somebody from your family or a friend beforehand. Hop on a Zoom with them, just a personal free Zoom. Hop on with them. Make sure that they can hear you nice and clear. If say that you are coming in too quietly, you'll see under microphone towards the top, you'll see it says speaker, and then you follow that down to microphone, and you'll see a few different options. You'll see it says input volume, and below that, automatically adjust microphone volume. Now, if you're checking your sound with a friend on Zoom prior to the ceremony, and you're coming in too quiet, what you can do is uncheck automatically adjust microphone volume. If it is checked, you can uncheck it. If it's already unchecked, then you don't have to do that step, but you'll want that to be unchecked. And then you'll be able to drag your input volume up or down, so you can raise it or lower it. If you're coming in way too loud and it's distorting and it's not coming in clearly, you can lower that. Generally, if you're not having an issue, you want to leave automatically adjust microphone volume checked and let it be. But if you find that when you've tested out your audio with somebody else, they're saying that you have an issue, you can adjust that up or down accordingly. In addition, when you hop on with them to check that, if your noise suppression algorithm, because of where you are, is ducking you down a lot and it's very hard to hear you and it's becoming garbly and sounding like you're underwater, only if that is the case, you can adjust your background noise suppression. You'll see it says audio profile. If you move down, it says Zoom background noise removal. And then below that, background noise suppression. And then it has options that say auto, low, medium, high. If your noise suppression is making it so we cannot hear you, you can change that to low instead of auto. And that will make it so that the noise will come through with you, but we'll also hear you. So so we can hear you reading the names, which is the priority. If you hop on to check your audio with a friend and this is not a problem, don't touch it. Like if it's set to auto, they're hearing you clearly, you're good. Leave it. But if you find that it's really making it hard to hear you, you can experiment with. Sorry, my microphone was on. Testing that to changing that to low as necessary. So that's that. That's all you have to do there. So you can exit out of that white pop-up when you're done adjusting your settings, and you're back here with me. So that being said, a few very important things when we go to next talking about how you look on camera. One, we do not allow blurred backgrounds or virtual backgrounds during the reading of the names. We find them inappropriate for the ceremony, and it's going to be pulling from your CPU. So it's very important that you don't use blurred backgrounds, that you don't use virtual backgrounds while you are reading. Just be wherever you're comfortable having whatever's behind you seen. I promise you, nobody is judging wherever you are. It is not about that. It is not about your home decor choices. It's just about reading those names. So if you do come on with the blurred background or virtual backgrounds, a member of my team will most likely message you asking you to turn that off. But we do ask that you do that yourself and make sure that that is not on when you are reading your names to begin with. Now, making sure that you look the best so you don't have to worry about a virtual background or a blurred background or anything like that. So first things first is positioning your camera. You'll see with me right now, my camera is pretty perpendicular to my face. It might be a little low, but you want it to look like this. You want it to look like, you're talking to the person in the computer. So if your computer is too low and you are higher right here, you'd want to raise it up on a couple books, maybe a box, to get it to a good height. That's if you're on a laptop. Desktops are generally higher up. So you just want to either raise your chair up to match it a little bit, or tilt down your screen till you get it in the most comfortable spot. So that basically you have a little gap above your head, just so you're not cutting off your hair, you're not cutting off any of your head there. So you want a little bit of a gap there, but you want your eyes around the top tooth, basically right where, if you had split the screen into thirds, it would be right where the second third from the bottom kind of ends, and that's where you'll be sitting really nicely on camera. If you position, your camera so it's as perpendicular to you as possible to look like you are talking, to the people that are listening and right alongside the other speakers who might be in person as well. So it's important that you adjust that to make sure that you're not, you don't want your computer to be too high, so you're down here. That's not going to look great, but you don't want it too low like that either. You want to adjust it, just so that you're not getting cut off, and you're very well centered and filling the frame. So feel free to experiment with that as well. On an iPhone or an iPad, this can be a little bit more difficult because of the angle of getting that to stay up. So experiment with that as well. If you have to be on one of those devices, once again, please, if you can be on a computer, join from a computer so we don't run into any issues. But if you do have to join from a smart device, that is totally fine. The priority is you reading those names. So just experiment really getting in the right position for doing so. The second thing when it comes to how you look is the lighting. So it's important that you have light coming onto your face from behind your device, whether that be lamps, or if it's during the day and you can rely on the weather, you can have windows behind, so you're facing the windows. You don't want any windows and no lights behind you. If you have windows or lights behind you, it's going to cause a glare. So if you do have to be positioned so that there are windows behind you, please make sure to pull the curtains, pull the shades, make sure that they're covered so that light is not streaming in, causing a glare, putting you in a dark shadow. We don't want that. We want to be able to see you because you're a human and you're important. So it's important that we're able to see you and you're well lit. if you're in a room where you have an issue with some of the lighting, maybe bring in a desk lamp or something like that from around the house to make sure that you're well lit, especially if you're going to be reading during the evening when it's darker. So experiment with that. You want light coming from directly in front of you onto your face. So if you have a lamp over towards your right and you don't have one on your left, you might end up in a shadow with half of your face. We don't want that. So you want even light coming onto your face from behind your device onto your face. You don't want to cause a glare with your camera with the light too. So you don't want that light, directed at the camera too close to your camera. So experiment with that and make sure that you're coming through and looking nice and clear. If you're seeing that your camera, when you're on there, it's looking grainy at all like that, that's probably because you don't have enough light on you. So when you have less light, the iris of your camera can't react to it, and you'll end up a little grainy. I'm a little grainy right now because it's evening and I'm not at my studio. I'm at home. But but that being said, when you're going to be broadcasted, it's important to adjust for that. So yeah, experiment with that. When you're choosing a lamp, if you're trying to move some stuff around, please, make sure that if it's a desk lamp, like a can lamp, that's kind of intense, you don't want to look like you're being interrogated. Try to find diffuse lighting that's gonna kind of spread around a bit. Might have a lampshade or be a little softer. So with that, you'll look great and be good to go. Like we mentioned before, if you have papers, please do not cover your camera. And please, a lot of times people might, come on, get ready, and we can see them good and they're all good. And then they put the papers in front of their camera. Don't do that. Just have your papers on your lap, on your table, but preferably on your lap so that when they move around, it's not going to make too much noise. And just in a comfortable place that you can read them. We recommend holding it up. But not covering your face, just holding it up below so you can look down and up just like if you were at a podium. Yeah, so we've made sure that you're going to look great, you're going to sound great, there's not going to be any interruptions. If you're in a household with other people that are using the internet, and you know that your internet connection is not the strongest, please have them not be on the Wi-Fi so that you can make sure that your connection is as strong as possible. And if for some reason there's an issue with you getting on and something is not happening, you'll email Rebecca via the email that's in the chat right now, and we will reschedule you and make sure that we get you on. So do not worry, do not fret if something is not going right with your tech. When it's time to go on, we'll push you and get you where you need to be so that you can read your names. So with that, I'm going to defer to Rebecca to talk about how you'll get your list of names and your panelist link to make sure that you have everything that you need to join. Once we go through all of that, we will go through tech questions and make sure that you're all comfortable and ready to go there. So that being said, I am going to defer to Rebecca to talk about those logistics first before we go to answering more tech questions.
Thank you, Jake. That was beautifully done. I will be honest, several times while Jake was talking, I was like, he is speaking another language, but then he explained it, so it was good. You do not want to have your lighting like mine is. It's terrible right now. It's like this, and I'm all pixelated. So follow his directions and you will look beautiful. Ruth Geller and Ruth Slater both look fantastic on my screen right now. Very easy to see them. Um, so yes, so you actually should have already received your list of names via email. If you have not yet received that, please email me and I will get that to you as soon as you email me. And as I said earlier, if you have any questions as you're going, you can feel free to email me and ask me. Esther, I see in the chat, has said, when will we get the list of names? Like I said, you should have received it yesterday in the evening. And Esther, I'll look and make sure that I send you again your list of names if you did not see it there. Okay, not a problem, Esther. I'll check and make sure that we get that taken care of for you. You said something else, Jake, that I don't remember that you said I was going to talk about, and I don't remember what it was because
panelist links.
Panelist links, that's correct. You should have also received your panelist link yesterday as well. So we sent an email that included the panelist link and the list that you will be reading from. If you have your own personal list of family members or friends that you would like to read as well, we invite you and we're very thankful and welcome that you are thankfully welcoming you to read those names. It puts an even more important personal touch and keeps those names even bigger and more alive. So that's very important if you have your own family's names. You will put that list at the top of the list that you received if you received a list. I believe both Ruths are reading their own list, so I did not include a list for them. And you will be reading them, as Jake sort of touched on, separately in rotation. So it'll be in rotation with the people that are in person as well. So it will sometimes when we switch over to the next half hour, there's a moment when people are not sure. Do I read now? Do I wait for somebody else? That is okay. It happens. The most important thing is to pick up as soon as you can once you feel that you are ready to start speaking. If you're not ready to start speaking or there's any tech issues going on, the people in person or the other person on Zoom will continue reading a name in succession until you are ready. Just try to pick it up as soon as you can. This is how we've done it the last 3 years. It ends up being really beautiful and gives you that moment to breathe for a minute while you're listening to other people's names. But if this is at all confusing, I am happy to call you directly and we can Zoom and I can practice this with you if it is all confusing or thinks that you look at it and go, this might feel awkward or frustrating. So I'm happy to go over it with you because we want you to feel as comfortable as possible while you're doing this. It's a beautiful thing that you're doing and we don't want to make you feel uncomfortable while you're doing it. What else about that? Oh, there will be times when it is just you and one other person. Some of you guys may not have all three people, or there may be a time when there's three people in person and just you. Still, we will be doing it in succession. The goal is that we want as many people to be able to read as possible. And some people didn't make it in the registration before before the spots filled up, but they really wanted to read, and we think that's really important. So there may be four people at your session instead, or just two people at your session instead. So just go with the flow on that and switch back and forth in the rotation as needed. And Marilee, I see that you sent me a text or a message as well saying that you need the list. I will absolutely get that to you. It'll probably be tomorrow morning. That's for everybody. If you're emailing me tonight, I will probably email you back tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I think that that's all that needs to be gone over. Please feel free to ask questions. I would open it now for questions for both Jake and myself, so we can
Yeah.
both answer questions.
So I will allow you to unmute now, and I'm gonna put us both up on here while we answer some.
Look how pretty we are. I love it.
So yeah, so we'll do it. You can raise your hand, and we'll call on you so that nobody has any issues there. So Ruth Geller, we'll start with you.
Yes, I was just wondering, is it possible tonight to try and read the names and see how we come through, or you want to do it another time? And Rebecca, I did want to mention to you, I have about 25 or 30 names. It does not take half an hour. I don't know what you want to do about that. If you want me to read some other names or, excuse me, if that's just good enough.
Those are both really great questions. I think that that's a great idea if we try it tonight with those that are on here at the very end of the questioning, so that people who don't want to try it or have done it before or have somewhere they need to get to, they can go. But if you want to stay on and try it, we can absolutely try it. And everyone's just going to say, you're going to list off the names of your family members, not people who passed away, just people you know. And we'll just try it so that you can see what it feels like to do it in rotation. That's a great idea.
And Ruth, just so you're aware as well, you sound great right now. So you're coming through nice and clear. Awesome. Okay.
Agreed. In regards to the second question, which was how many people you have on your personal list, if you'd like, if it's comfortable for you, I can send you a list of additional people to read once you finish reading yours. If you would prefer to do, we had talked at one point that you had a whole list of like 100 people that you could pull from. If you wanted to, you can do that. Or if after you do the 25 family names, if you're finished, you can be finished and log off. And then the people who are still on, either in person or via Zoom, can continue just reading from their list. So any of those ways works. Again, it's what is most comfortable for you and what you feel like you want to do. So if you want to email me and just say, please send me a list just so I have them in case, I'm happy to send you a list too. just let me
Okay,
know.
you can do that. I am going to be going to Temple on Friday night, and I'm going to ask people if they would like me to read any names, of some of the members that they're not going to be on. So I don't know if I'll get additional, but why don't you send me a short list so that I have it?
I will do that. It's better, I guess, to have more names than none. So that makes perfect sense. Not a problem.
Okay,
Wonderful.
and I do appreciate trying to at least read a couple of names, and some of them are a little hard to pronounce, but I think I can do it.
That was
Wonderful.
something I meant to touch on. Many of the names of the list that we've sent you are going to be foreign names that you may not be used to hearing or saying. They may feel complicated on your tongue. And we get the question every year. I feel like I'm doing a disservice by saying their name wrong. Is there any way that I can practice it ahead of time? You can if you want to, but the point of this is not to get it picture perfect. We're not saying their names perfectly. The idea is that we are honoring, we're giving them space by mentioning, even trying to mention their names. The important thing is that you are trying to keep their memory alive and their name alive. So even if it's mispronounced, please do not feel badly about that. I would say everybody mispronounces, even me, as they're reading. And really the point is that we are giving that space and that moment for that human being. Even if the name is said incorrectly, it is the idea and the thought behind it that we are trying to communicate.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Great question. I saw
Awesome.
Ruth
Ruth
Slater's
Slater?
hand next. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just unmute for us, Ruth. Ruth, you're still muted. Just unmute in the bottom left-hand corner. You're
Nope,
still muted,
she's
Ruth.
still
You just
muted.
gotta- Oh,
There
there
she
you go.
is. Yay.
My glasses, they're glaring. Now my question, so if I tilt down, they don't glare, which is what I'd probably be doing
Correct.
reading.
Mhm, mhm.
Or is it that this light that's sort of behind me isn't far enough behind?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Obviously, you're reading names. A lot of people are going to need glasses to do so. One is it can be difficult to avoid glare with glasses. This is part of the course. When you're looking at a screen and that light's coming on it because it's a screen, you can get a glare from your glasses. What the important thing is that you're comfortable and can read those names at the end of the day. However, if you want to adjust and experiment with where you are in relation to your computer screen, where you are in relation to other lights, that can help to experiment with that. People get confused a lot because they think they got blue light
We
glasses.
just had a big earthquake here in Riverside.
It was a real big one.
A
What?
big earthquake right now, shaking.
Oh, there was an earthquake?
I'm gonna
Did you
check
feel
on
it?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Is
I'm
everybody
in
okay?
Riverside, and it really, the whole house shook.
Is everybody okay? I'm in
I didn't
Glenville.
feel
I'm
anything.
I'm gonna Google
We
this
felt
right
it in
now.
West
It was
Covina.
It was pretty strong. Pretty scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in,
You guys
I'm in
all
North
okay?
Orange County.
You need to check with family members to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, I'm checking my kids.
Okay.
Honey, did you feel an earthquake?
No.
You feel that?
Oh my gosh.
I
We
think it
felt
was
it in West
located in
Covina.
Riverside, which is where I live.
You feel the shaking?
That part, yeah, east. That's far east from me.
Wow, that is really far
Do you feel the
east.
earthquake, Frankie?
Okay, if everyone's okay, we can continue, but I don't want to continue if everyone's not okay. I
No,
want to make
that's
sure people are
fine,
okay.
but I just wondered if everybody was okay.
Yeah.
They haven't announced it on online yet,
Oh.
but I hope everybody's okay.
Jake, does any of that glare come from the computer itself?
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh, if
sometimes
I turn down,
glare-
it's gone.
Yeah, so when you
Okay.
tilt down and you're not looking at most of the glare is actually coming from your computer when
Okay,
it comes
good.
to
Okay, my
So,
other question, which I
Mm.
never asked before because it never happened and I don't understand. Ruth was concerned about not having enough names. Now you
Mm.
said in each time slot, we have, at the beginning anyway, 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, there will be
Okay.
1 or 2 other people.
And
with
we're
you.
alternating name by name, which is
Correct.
new. And but more than that, it seems to me we used to get more names than we could get through it sometimes. So you won't run out of names. You talk for the half an hour as many times as you are slotted into that half hour, and you may have names you never get to. Yes?
That is true.
Yes, okay.
If that happens, if you have the time, and if you don't have the time, that's okay. But if you have the time, to be able to send us back where you stopped on the list so we can add those names to next year, because we
Sure, yeah.
never get through of the 6
No.
million. We still, I don't think we've done it yet. We've been doing this. This will be the 4th year, and we might possibly get through all 6 million names this year, but
No,
I think that's it.
no.
We basically just we just start off where we left off the year
And
before. So
by the way, you just answered the question I was going to ask you privately. Is this my 4th time or my 5th time?
4th time.
I've been here since the
Yep.
beginning.
4th time.
One thing
Amazing.
back to
Not
the
yet.
question earlier about the glasses, I just wanted to finish up a thought that I mentioned, which is that a lot of times people think that blue light glasses are better for avoiding glare. It's actually the opposite. Blue light glasses reflect more blue light. Your computers release blue light, so they're going to reflect more and cause more of a glare if you're using blue light glasses. So if you want less of a glare in your glasses, use non-blue light glasses that are just normal glasses, and you won't have as much of a glare or reflection from them.
Thank you, Jay.
You can practice right now if you want to. I just did, even though this isn't the light.
Exactly, and you
the
can
difference
see
between
adjust your
this
positioning.
and this, it just
What
like
are you-
just
what are
angling
you
them now.
practicing?
I'm practicing how I'm angling my glasses.
Oh, well,
So
but you
this
can-
when it's regularly, I put them on, and then I can pull it off and just angle it slightly downward, and the glare is gone, and I can still see really well.
Yeah, it's just stay
when you
cognizant.
read, you go
Yeah.
down, unless you read like this.
Yeah, exactly. You can adjust how's comfortable for you. But awesome. Are there other tech questions?
I feel like I saw, was it Marilee that had her hand raised?
Oh, I was just gonna say I have an earthquake app and it was a 4.5
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
in
Ooh.
San Bernardino.
Yes,
Oh.
it's very close to where I am.
Yeah, about 5.6
the next-
miles deep.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Mine did not go off because I'm in the other valley.
Me too.
Well,
Same
I
thing
hope
with me.
everybody's okay. That's
Yeah.
that's
I
crazy.
hope your things are okay too. I know oftentimes there's structural things or things fall down, so I'm glad you guys are okay right now.
Yeah.
And then I saw Deborah's hand
yeah.
up too.
Deborah, I think you had a question. Yeah.
Yeah, my question goes
You
with,
gotta hit tap to speak, right?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
My question's about the pronunciation. I haven't printed out my names yet, but I looked at them, and a number of them have names that on the same line you've sort of duplicated, but with a different spelling, like Leba with an IA and then Leba with a YA. Is that so we can just get a way to pronounce it, or am I to repeat it twice?
So those are different. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
I think
Rebecca.
she's saying on the same line,
On the
Oh.
same line, it's the same
not
person.
below each other,
Not
right?
below it.
Right, but like a different way of
person.
spelling it, but it's the same pronunciation, I think. Is it just sort of, is that to help us pronounce?
This
Or
is a
do we
great
want me to
question.
repeat it twice?
This is a great question. It's not for helping a pronunciation. It's because these lists come from Yad Vashem. It means that they were not sure if the person's name was spelled one way or the other, so they put both
Okay.
spellings in there.
Okay, so I
Um,
just say it
That's very
once with
interesting.
Say it once.
pronouncing, got it. Thank you.
This is a good point that Jake was about to say. You'll see the same name oftentimes in your list. It'll seem like it's the exact same name.
I
I'm so
noticed.
sad to say this, but these are different family members of the same family. They are different people oftentimes in the same family. Sometimes it's different families and it's
Yeah.
the same name. But usually you will go through a list and you'll see all of the Rabinovitz's names, and it'll be like Michael, and that's like 3 generations of Rabinovitz's that
But
I'm
then
sorry, I'm gonna get emotional.
Usually
So that
the-
is
the
it
names,
is a different name.
the ages are different, which will show you.
Yeah, it'll say the ages or the place of death or place of birth.
Sometimes Yad Vashem doesn't have that information. So
Right.
that's another good point to make. Some of them will have first name, last name, date of birth, date of death, age, occupation, where they died. It'll have a ton of information. Others will just have a first name, or will have a first and last name. So read as much of the information you have from your list that is given.
So
It-
not just the name, but all the information?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Oh,
I didn't realize that. I thought we were just reading names.
no.
No, as
The
much
thing
information as
is
possible.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that.
Of
Yeah,
course. I'm glad I said it then.
Yes.
the ages are very important to
Mhm.
express the gravity of the
Absolutely.
situation a lot. So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah.
I agree.
So, unless we have any other tech questions, are there any questions when it comes to the tech side of things left for those on the call? Yes, Yvonne?
How do you know who starts the list?
So there'll be people on site for the most part. There might be a couple of sections when I think there might be just people on Zoom, but that's very rare in the course of the schedule. Generally, the people on site will start because they have less of a changeover getting ready to go. That being said, the second we go into that, just be ready to read your names. If you find yourself, outside of the order and like don't wait necessarily, like if it's your time to read your names and you're unmuted, but like they're reading and they keep forgetting about you, just start reading just start reading the name, butt in with it, so that they recognize that you're there ready to go. So definitely that's another important thing. Don't hesitate. It's better that like you have a little bit of a discord at the beginning of starting, because there's too many people wanting to read the names, but we want to make sure that you get to reading your names. We don't want you to just, be kind of stuck there waiting when you shouldn't be. So, yeah. But that being said, generally the people on site will start, and the people on Zoom will be second or third, depending on, if there's two people on Zoom or two
No,
people.
I think that's okay because I'm used to doing that kind of Zoom.
Perfect. Okay, great, wonderful. Okay.
Any other questions?
Mhm.
No? Okay, at this time, if you do not want to try a practice session, you may go ahead and leave. We are thankful that you were here. This was wonderful to have you here to be able to ask these questions, not just for yourselves, but also for the people receiving this recording after, if they could not make it. All of these questions, you're not the only one that has them. So it's really good that you asked them and that you were here to be able to ask them. So thank you. If you would like to head out, you're welcome to, but I would like to go ahead and try a practice session if you
Yeah.
guys would like to.
So what we'll do is we are going to we'll do groups of 3. So I'll just say the first 3 people that we'll start with, and we'll do this probably 3 times. And all we're going to do is you each are just going to say one name. It can be any name. It can even be your own name. But you're going to say a name, then the next person's going to say the name, the next person is going to say the name. So that being said, we will start with.
You can put me in as well, because I see there's only 5 people left. So you can put me in
Oh,
as well.
perfect.
And then-
Okay, cool. So we'll start then with Rebecca as a good example. And we'll have Rebecca, Stephanie, and Ruth Geller to start.
So that's the order. That's the order we'll do.
that'll be
Rebecca,
the
Stephanie.
order as well. So I'm going to turn off my well, just remove myself from here. I'll keep my camera on. And then Ruth Geller, I will add you there. And Stephanie, I will add you as well. And let me add you back, Rebecca. Here you go. So, so yeah, so you're all there, and now you can each, quote unquote, read a name.
Rebecca Russell, born 1980, 43 years old, Glendale, California.
Stephanie McQuown, born 1980 in Arcadia, California, 43 years old.
Ella Ginsberg died in 1942 in Krakow.
Leah Vaughn Russell, 6 years old, Glendale, California.
I don't want to read names of family members of mine that are alive, so I'm okay.
Hava Koral Ehrlich, born in 1876, died in 1942 in Krakow, Poland.
Lee Russell, Glendale, California.
Great.
Perfect.
Awesome. And now, Stephanie and Ruth, you're all set. We're gonna switch you out for Deborah and Marilee. Here we go. And Rebecca will keep you on for this one as well. Here we go.
Can we have
And
Marilee start this one?
Deborah, yeah,
Okay.
let's do that. So it'll be Marilee, Deborah, Rebecca. And great. Feel free to start when you're ready.
Okay. Marilee Basham, born 1950, Brooklyn, New York.
Deborah Cooperberg, born 1955, age 68, West Covina, California.
Rebecca Russell, born 1980, 43 years old, Glendale, California.
Also on 73.
Sasha Ehrlich died 2023 in Huntington Beach, California, in 6 concentration camps from 1939 to 1945.
Robert Grossman, Colorado.
Great. Perfect. There we go.
What I
Well,
liked right there is Marilee forgot that she wanted to put her age. She just forgot to read the age and she just said it. That's perfectly fine. Also, she didn't have another name, and we could tell as the other readers that she didn't have another name coming to mind. So instead of like stopping and being like, come on, Marilee, you can do it, we just continued. And then Marilee could catch up with us the next round. So that's
Ex-
exactly how we want to do it here, is if all of a
Just
sudden
keep
you're
it going.
tongue tied or you lose your spot, we can just move on and come back to you. And it's not an insult. There's nothing wrong with that. It is just a really great way to keep it moving and to respect each other as we're doing it.
Exactly. The priority is getting through as many of the names as we can. So totally fine to, either make it clear you don't know the name as it moves on, or to say another bit of information if you've messed up or anything like that. So just keep it moving forward, and there we go. Awesome.